Looky what we have here.
Are you tired of using just a regular Sega Genesis controller? Have you ever felt like using a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, GameCube, whatever with your Sega Genesis? Try this. Alright, so let's open this thing up. There's not much here. Pop this open, alright, and pull it out. There we go. So we have an itty bitty cable. I'm guessing that's either for charging or syncing. I have not read the manual. Got any manual in there? No manual. And look at that, the device itself. Ooh. Alright, that is probably for a firmware update. Because what else could it be for? First things first, we're going to synchronize a Genesis DIY to it. Fortunately, we have one right here. And what better game to try this out on than something twitchy like a Space Harrier type of game? It's 32X. Can't go wrong. You got 32 bits of power. How is it? So we're just going to plug this thing in. Help if I put it in the right way. You should probably note that thing's kind of tight. We've got the game plugged in. We've got the controller sitting. We've got the 8bitdo, whatever, controller interface. So, to make this thing work, let's first move the controller out of the way. We are going to turn on the Sega Genesis. Look at that! It's blinking! To turn the controller on, you press B and start. Ah, we're blinking. And now, to synchronize it, you hold down, you press mode. And we're blinking. Let's hold it down here. Oh, I should probably press the pair button here. So we're blinking, we're blinking, we're blinking, we're blinking. Ah, we've got a pair. We've got a match. So let's head over here to the TV. Alright, let's give this thing a try.
Welcome to the family.
I deliberately chose Space Harrier because of how quick the game is. And this is extremely responsive. So in my last video about the M30 2.4 gigahertz, I liked it. But I was having interference in my house after I made the video. It became very prevalent. So I just want to do a quick update. If you're not having problems with it, that's awesome. I mean, I really hope it's a firmware issue. This is extremely responsive. The 3 bottom buttons are all working. This is not a 6-button game, so I have no idea if the others work yet. Take that. There we go. Oh, here comes the dragon. Ah, I died. You know what? It sucks because I'm on screen when it's happening. Take that, you silly dragon. Boom, and he's gone. Let's connect this to a spare classic connection. I am going to sync it with this. This is a spare classic connection, okay? And the reason being is because what if I want to use my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo, or what have you, on the Sega Genesis? Well, how about we combine that with the G-Bros and make the G-Bros, we connect that to the retro receiver. How about that? Let's give that a try. Okay, these are now a family. Let's hook up the G-Bros to the Sega Genesis. First and foremost, let's connect these. It's beautiful. Alrighty. Let's make the Genesis work with the G-Bros connection. Okay. To turn this thing on, all you do is press the home button for 3 seconds. It's going to blink, so now it's in pairing mode. We'll turn the Genesis back on. Press this to put it in pairing mode. And now we'll hold down the Wi-Fi or the pair button. And they should connect. Yep. We're paired. Alright, so now this and this are paired. I'm plugging these back in together. Boom. I'm turning this controller back on. Yep, and she's on. Now it's working. I'm noticing no more input lag than I did before. Everything's working just fine. How about we disconnect these now? Alright, like it never happened. Still connected to the Genesis's retro receiver. Let's try these now. These are for the Super Nintendo Classic. Plug it in and turn it on. Alright, we've got a light. We've got a light. Let's give it a try. So I just want to note, I'm trying every button on the controller. And I can tell you Y, B, and A all work. X and the shoulder buttons do not. So I might actually have to try another game that uses all these buttons just to test to see what maps with what. In fact, let's try that now. I know the original Streets of Rage really well. The way I've always played it is A is your special move, or special attack, where the police car shoots no matter where you are, whether it be a boat, elevator, what have you. And then B is your attack, and C is your jump. So let's give it a try. Rage is in. I'm going to press home to turn this on, alright? So you can see I got a solid blue light. Controller is on. I'm going to make sure you can see the light. Let's check the options. And it's set exactly the way you expect. A special attack, attack, and jump. Okay? Alright, we're going to use Adam because he's the coolest. Alright, the controls are exactly what I thought. A is your jump, B is your attack, and Y is your police car special attack. So the Super Nintendo controller works just fine with this. Let's move on to the NES. Right. So here is the M30 for the NES Classic. And we'll see how this one works. Now obviously we're missing the C button, so we've got A and B. These are turbo buttons, so they don't count. Let's see how it works with Streets of Rage. Something tells me one functionality is not going to be there, but everything else should work fine. So we'll connect it, turn it on. It's going to blink because I don't have the Genesis on yet. Genesis is now coming on, and we've got a solid blue light. A is jump. Let me move this out of the way so you can see. B is attack. And we have no special move. This would actually be an interesting way to play the game. So this one clearly isn't viable unless you can map the buttons to B and C, respectively. So Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion should work fine. In fact, let's give it a try. In fact, let's try both of them. The SMS and the Sega Genesis. You know what? Let's start with the Sega Master System, because there's only 2 buttons on that console anyway. The Sega Master System games, I have the Power-Based Mini from Stone Age Gamer. No, they never sponsored me, and I bought this at full price. Just put that together, and there you have it. Now, the cool thing about this one is that it's got the FM. So if you don't already know, the Sega Master System actually had an FM modulator, but it was only released in Japan. But the American games still had the FM capabilities built into them if the game supported it. I don't recall if this is one of them. Afterburner is one of the few games that I can remember offhand that I have that has the FM built in. Let's see how it works. Alright, Genesis on. Let's see if we got a good light here. Solid light. Sega Master System. One of these buttons is start. I think it's this one. Nope. Oh, you know what would help if I turn this on? Alright, one of these buttons is start. And it is not working! None of these buttons are working on here. Not unheard of. Just for giggles. Let's try the Genesis controller. I just swapped it out for this one. And this one absolutely seems to be working. And it looks like B is the start. We'll just do normal. By the way, this game's considerably different than the Genesis version. For one, you can choose which levels you start off on. Mickey can throw things. Graphics suck too. But it's also a Sega Master System game. It's almost like DuckTales. Look at this. Maybe we'll do a comparison video, because this game is the same one that was released on the Game Gear years later. Ah, shoot. What the hell do you do with this? Let's try Afterburner on here with the NES controller. Alright, we got a light, and this one is working. Let's try it. So one is your unlimited guns and one is your unlimited missiles. Yeah, this one works fine with the NES controller. Let's make sure we have the blue light. Solid blue for Bluetooth. Start should map properly, and it does. And looking at the control scheme, shots use A and B. So C should be B, and shot, which is basically just throwing whatever you have in your hand, should be the B button here. So let's give it a try. I know I should be capturing this with my capture card, but I'm not. Yep, everything looks good. The turbo works. Alright, now I've got an item. So now, when I press the B button, it should shoot. Look at that! And turbo works, and turbo jump works. Let's try GameCube controller. Alright, there's no tricks here. This is a full-fledged original GameCube controller that came with my GameCube. I know, what are the odds? We are going to plug it into this end of the G-Bros. Look at that. By the way, this thing does not fit a Wavebird. I've tried numerous times. If I shave this part off with the Dremel, it probably would, but I don't want to ruin it. Genesis is on. Let's see, we got our blue light. We got a solid blue light. Let's see what happens with this. Start. Start works. So my guess is this is going to be jump and this is going to be shoot. So let's see. And this is the worst D-pad to play this game on. Hey, the analog stick works. D-pad works. So it's realistically just the A and the B. Alright, let's give this a try. Jump. Shoot. Exactly what I thought it would be. Does nothing. Does nothing. Alright, move. So far, this thing's pretty cool. Next up, we're going to put the M30 Bluetooth edition on it and see how well it works with the thing it was really designed for. Now, so far, I will definitely say this is by far a better product than the 2.4 gigahertz. With this device, you can pair it with anything. Want to use a Switch controller? Knock yourself out. Okay, look at what's here now. You see that? The Bluetooth one. Now, this was designed as a higher caliber controller than the 2.4 gigahertz, and it's evident even in the packaging. Where the other one, you just opened it up, and it was nothing more than a controller and some packing. Look at this one. Look at that. And then you open it up. Look at it. It's even got the plastic treatment. Remove the plastic. And you have the controller. There we go. Look at that. Now I can tell you, at least the way it feels absolutely no different than the 2.4 gigahertz model. Except, when you look at it, you've got these little lights right here for when you're pairing it, so you know which controller it is. Everything else is seemingly functionally the same except for this pairing button right here. And of course you still have the USB port, same L and R. So how about we give this thing a try? Once again, we're going to use Space Harrier. Mainly because of the same aspect I mentioned before. Just want it to be as twitchy as possible. So let's give it a try. Alright, we're turning it on. We're going to pair it. Alright, let's pair this controller now. We'll start by turning on the controller. All you do is turn it on by pressing the power button. You'll see a little light blinking. Okay. Let's turn on the Genesis. She's on. Little lights blinking. Push the pair button. You got a fast light blinking. Press the pair button for 2 seconds. And you can see the lights going back and forth. And now it's paired. Alright, we're paired. Let's give this game a try. Alright, now this one is very responsive. I like this controller. It feels pretty good. I have no inclination to use the L and R buttons. Look at that. Boom. She is moving. Ah, I died. Dun. You know, to be honest, after using the controller, the DIY Genesis controller, I do kind of like that one better. It does have a more natural feel, but this is a pretty damn good close second. One thing that I find ironic is that 8bitdo was so careful to emulate the original feel of the early controllers for every other console except for this one. This one got its own unique design. I should note, if you would like to turn the button turbo, just hold the button in question and press star. And see, look at that, rapid fire. That's pretty cool. Hey, look, I just kicked that guy's butt frez. Let's turn that off. So which kind of controller do you prefer? Do you like the original Sega Genesis? This is a DIY. This thing, which is actually surprisingly heavy. I really do like it. I think it's a great controller, but I don't know, when you compare it to this one, there is definitely a difference between. This one is so much lighter and it feels more natural. This one's a bit heavier. It feels like a very quality controller. And I know that's in contrast to the last video, but I actually hadn't held this one in a while when I did that video. Excellent controller, very responsive. If you have to choose between this one and the 2.4 gigahertz, go with the Bluetooth. Bluetooth always better. And then of course you factor in this, where you can plug an assortment of controllers into it. You can't really go wrong. What do you think? You like this? You want this? I want it. Everyone, have a good one. Peace out. Thanks for watching The Generational Gamer.